Class time! You're welcome to Dike Chris Academy. My name is Dike Chris, and today we're going to learn one of the famous Microsoft Excel function, the VLOOKUP function. The V stands for vertical, so you can feel free to call this function vertical lookup function. The full syntax for VLOOKUP function is VLOOKUP, then you open a bracket, close it, and jump inside. So this is the VLOOKUP function. Remember, you precede it with what? An equality sign. Okay, so now I'm inside the VLOOKUP function. You'll find out that we have 4 parameters for this function. The first one is the lookup value, the second one the lookup array, the third one the column index number, and the last one the range lookup. So we go through these 4 arguments of this function one after the other. So the lookup value here is the value you want to find in the first column of the table array. I've made this table to save us some time. This is the University of Nigeria and Nsukka, the first semester result, called MTH111. And right here on the right hand side, I've made the lookup table for us. So if you go ahead to study this is 0, 30, 40, all through 70, and I've assigned some values F, E, D through A. So the VLOOKUP value is actually the value you want to find in the first column. This is the first column of the table array. So this lookup table is actually the table array we are referring to here. So you can either enter a number, like for instance here we use number. You can as well enter a string, you can enter a reference. So a string is just like a blank text, a normal text that is not a number, it's not an integer, it just that's an example of a string. So you can use a number, a string, or a reference, but for this class we use a number. 87 at cell E7, as you can see it here, as the lookup value for our lookup function. But before that, let's pause a little and clean up this VLOOKUP function first, so that we can name our lookup table. Remember I said we're going to use a name. So to do that, we will highlight the table, all of it, then choose formulas. As you can see, I'm on formulas here. I choose formulas, then I click on define name. So when I click on define name, I will have a little pop-up here which will tell me I should name my table. So by default it names the table lookup table, but I want something else. I can call the table, maybe I'll call it scores or grade, any one of my choice. So I call it grade. That is the name of my table. So it's on the scope workbook, but I can be specific. I call it sheet 1 in case I have more than one lookup tables. So I choose sheet 1. As you can see here, this is this refers to the address of the lookup table. This dollar sign is a sign of absoluteness. It's absolute cell addressing. If you don't really know what it means, maybe check on one of our tutorials, you'll get to know. So I've named the table and I've chosen the right scope. I'll go ahead and hit OK. So what happened is that anytime I did select this table, then in the name box you will see that Excel recognizes this table as grade because we just named it. Alright, so now that we've named it, we'll go ahead and continue with the lookup function. So if you go back here and type the VLOOKUP function, then remember, like we said before, the lookup value is the value in cell E7. So we go ahead and select this value. And remember, the parameters, they are comma separable. So when you enter one, separate it with comma. So when I choose the lookup value, I separated it with a comma. So the next parameter there is the table array. Of course, the table array, we just named it grade. So we can go ahead and type in grade. So when we type in grade, Excel automatically recognizes this table, and you can see it. I've brightly highlighted it here. So we'll move to the next parameter, which says column index number. So what is column index number? This is the column number in the table array, being this one that contains the data you want to return. So this is the table that contains the data you want returned. So the first column, that is the lookup column. So this is the column we're talking about, the column index number. So this is where you look up, and this is the column that contains the data you want returned. So here our column index number is going to be 2, because in our lookup table, this one that contains the number 0 to 70 is the first column, while this one is the second column. And of course, we must have looked up this value in cell E7 in this very first column. We want to return the grades in the second column. That is why our column index number is going to be what? 2, meaning the second column in the lookup table. So go ahead and put a comma and now type 2. So write my column index number is 2. So the very last parameter, which is the range lookup, is actually a Boolean value that determines how Excel searches for lookup value in the first column, that is the lookup column. So the range lookup can be true or false. So by default, the default value for the range lookup is true. So true simply means if for any reason Excel couldn't find the exact match for the lookup value, so if it couldn't find it, then the function looks for the largest value that is less than the lookup value, which is the default. So the true is default, while false you can specify. Even right here you can see it, true approximate match, while false exact match. So we want to take true because for this example it has to be true, because we are grouping them in ranges, whereby any student that scores from 0 to anything less than 30 should take F, while any student that scores from 30 to anything less than 40 is taking an E, just that way to 70. So the lookup, the range lookup has to be true, not false. So in one of our tutorial, we tried to give an example where we use false for range lookup value. And if you check at the top right side of your screen, you will see a video, a link. You can click on it so that you can see the video for yourself and maybe you understand what we're talking about. So now we've rightly inputted the lookup value, the table array, the column index number, and the range lookup. Now let's run and see what we have. So if I hit enter on my keyboard, you can see that this person scored had an A because he scored 87, 30 in his text and 57 in the exam, and he scored A. Why? Reason being because he from the lookup table we said any student that scored 70, from 70 to anything higher than 70 should have an A, while anybody that scored from 60 to anything lower than 70 should score a B. So this guy scored 87, so he's in the A class. That is why he had an A. So from the normal rule of function, once you've done for one, you can hold it here with a little crux. Remember, your mouse turn from a fat cross to a little thin cross. Then you hold down your left, you click down your mouse, hold and drag across until you occupied everything. So you see that here Excel have rightly graded these students. Some people has A, some had D. I can see E here as well. I can see C, depending on their grade. So take your time and study this grade to see if the grades were rightly given to the students, courtesy of the VLOOKUP function. So this is how you can use the lookup function to determine the grades of the students in your school. If you're a teacher, if you're a lecturer, you can use these things to do so many things. Important notes, things to note. Now, if the range lookup is true or omitted, of course, in our example, the range lookup is true. As you can see on the formula bar, the range lookup is true. So if it is true, then you must sort the values in the first column in ascending order. So these values in the first column of the lookup array, or the lookup table as you can choose to call it, must be sorted in an ascending order. So it must start from 0 through 70, or anywhere you want to stop. So the smallest number must come first before the higher ones. It must be in ascending order, else it will not run as expected. I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you learned one or two things. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and also hit the notification button so that you can get notification whenever we release a new video. Of course, we'll be releasing videos almost every week. See you in the next tutorials. Bye.